Hey everyone, it's Riley from Echidna Sewing here. Welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to make these denim storage bins. Here's what you're going to need. You'll need a used pair of jeans. I've got a pair of men's jeans here. I find that they're the best amount of fabric. You'll need a lining fabric. I've got this nice pink gingham. You'll need interfacing. Today I'm using a lightweight interfacing. You'll need some pins or clips, some sewing scissors, a purple thing, a seam ripper, a friction pen, or you can use a water-soluble pen. I've got a patchwork ruler. You can use a regular ruler if you'd like. I've got a wool pressing mat and my iron. Then you'll need your sewing machine. I've got the Brother NV50S. I've got Razant thread in a color that matches my jeans, and I'm using a size 100 denim needle. Let's get into it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to seam rip this main seam here off of my jeans. So I'm just going to start from the bottom and just start unpicking those threads. Just a quick tip for seam ripping. Once you get the first bit of your seam open, if you take this little ball here on the other side of your seam ripper and place it inside your seam, you can just rip your seam straight from the inside like that. You don't have to mess about with picking individual stitches out. Once I've seam ripped that entire inner leg, I'm just going to go ahead and cut off this leg from the main part of the body. That just makes it a little bit easier for us to work with, and we can go ahead and set the rest of the jeans aside for now. Now I'm just going to go ahead with my iron and press these seams down flat so it's a little bit easier to work with. While I'm waiting for my iron to heat up, I'm just removing all of this gold stitching that the jeans have. That's one side of our seams pressed flat. Just going to do the other one really quickly. Fold your jeans in half with the right sides together. Grab your ruler and your friction pen. I'm just going to measure out a rectangle that is 10 inches by 15 inches. After that, I'm just going to pin my two layers together so they don't move while I'm trying to cut them out. Now I'll just cut those out. Right, unpin those rectangles, and you can set aside that denim piece for now. Now with your lining piece, you want to go ahead and cut the exact same rectangle, 10 inches by 15 inches. I'm just going to double my fabric up here so I can cut two out at once. Again, pin them together while we cut them out so they don't move. Set aside your lining, and now our final rectangles we need to cut out are from our interfacing. Now, because I'm using a lightweight interfacing, I'm going to cut 4 rectangles, 10 by 15 rectangles out. If you're using a medium weight or a heavyweight interfacing, you'll only need to cut 2. Once all your pieces are cut out, we can now attach our interfacing to our fabric pieces. So before I attach my interfacing, I'm just going to give my pieces of fabric a quick iron to just get out any of the wrinkles or creases. Once all my creases are out, I'm going to grab one piece of my interfacing, make sure the shiny side is facing down, and just pop that on the wrong side of your fabric. And iron that down. If you're using the medium or heavyweight interfacing, you'll only need to iron your interfacing onto your lining pieces, not your denim pieces. Once you've done that one, go ahead and iron the rest of your interfacing on. Once we've ironed all of our interfacing on, just grab one piece of your denim, and we're just going to mark a square in the bottom corner, making sure you have the long sides at the top and at the bottom. And just mark a 3" by 3" square on the corner. And the same on the other side. Once you've marked those two squares, go ahead and cut them out. Right, that's what it should look like. Now go ahead and do that for your remaining 3 pieces. Now that we've cut out all of our corners, I'm going to grab one lining piece and one denim piece. I'm just going to align them together with the right sides facing each other. Then just pin or clip that together along the top edge. And I can set that one aside and do the same for my other piece. Once you have those two clipped, we can get into sewing. Now before we start sewing, I've just gone ahead and put on my 1/4" foot here. If you don't have a 1/4" foot, you can just use your standard zigzag foot, but make sure that you follow the 1/4" mark along here. So now I'm just going to sew across the top there with a 1/4" seam allowance. Trim any excess threads and repeat for your other piece. Once you've sewn those two together, I'm just going to come over here to my iron and I'm going to press the seams flat to one side. Doesn't matter which side, just as long as you do the opposite on the other piece. Now the reason we do opposite seams on each piece is so that the seams can nest together and that reduces a bit of bulk. So now since I pressed the seam to the right side on this one, I'm going to press my seam to the left on this side. Once you've ironed those down, place right sides together, making sure that your denim fabric is matching your denim fabric and your lining is matching your lining. And line up all of the edges. And I'm going to pin together, or clip in this case, the side seams and the bottom and top seams. Once you've clipped that, we can go ahead and sew our top, side seams and our bottom seam. But with our lining, we want to leave about a 2 to 3 inch gap at the bottom so we can turn our bin right side out when we're done. So I'm going to start with one side seam. Now stitch that with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm just going to grab my purple thang here, as when I'm sewing the denim layers together, sometimes it can get a little bit bulky and I just use this to help push it through the machine. come to the spot where my 2-inch gap is going to be in my lining, I'm just going to bring my presser foot up, move my fabric to where I want my gap to finish, and just continue sewing. Okay, trim off any excess threads. Now we're going to box our corners. So what that means is just taking one of our corners, pinching one layer of fabric in each hand, opening it out so that our sewn seams now align together like so. I'm just going to clip that together, and I'm going to make sure that when I clip these seams together that they are opposite, like so that they nest together nicely. All right, and do that for your other 3 corners. Once you've boxed all 4 corners, it should look a little something like that. And now we can just sew these together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Just using my purple thing here to push that seam under to make sure that they nest together nicely. Don't forget to trim any excess threads. Alright, now we can turn this right side out. Using that hole that we left in the lining, I'm just going to push through all of that fabric. Alright, should look a little something like that. The next thing we need to do is just sew this turning hole shut. So I'm just going to fold in the raw edges and clip them together. And I'm just going to sew a straight line just across that gap, as close to the edge as possible. I am just going to change my thread color so that it matches my fabric. Once you've stitched your turning hole shut, you can go ahead and pop your lining inside your bin like that. With your iron, just press these seams down nice and flat. While I've got my iron here, I'm just going to find the corners of my box, pinch them, and I'm just going to press them flat with my iron, just to give my box a little bit more shape. Then our second last step is to just sew a row of top stitching around the perimeter of our bin. I'm just going to change my stitch length to 3 millimeters for a top stitch, and I'm going to continue doing it in pink because we're going to flip this down afterwards, so you'll only see the pink. Once you've done your top stitching, your final step is to just fold down the top of your bin about 1.5 inches. Right. And there we go. There is your finished denim storage bin. Now, if you were interested in any of the products that we used in this video, feel free to check out our website for more information, and don't forget to tag us on Instagram so we can see your creations too. Thanks for watching. Happy sewing!